We're doing this week on how U.S. food regulations have left American consumers exposed to chemicals and additives that have been banned in other countries.
Imagine walking into Costco, that concrete paradise of giant carts and bulk bargains, where everything from vitamins to peanut butter claims to make your life healthier. The air smells like rotisserie chicken and good intentions. You tell yourself, this place is America's health headquarters. But here's the jaw dropper. Half a world away, in Europe, some of these healthy Costco favorites are flat out banned. Not restricted, not frowned upon, banned. While Americans are tossing them into carts thinking they're fueling their bodies, Europeans see flashing hazard signs. Because across the Atlantic, regulators play by a different rulebook, one that often puts safety before sales. So today on Frugal Pro, we're taking a trip down Costco's aisles to uncover the foods that Europe said absolutely not to, and the reasons might change the way you look at your next healthy snack run. If this video shocks you even once, hit that like button and subscribe, because at Frugal Pro, we don't just shop smart, we shop with eyes wide open. Let's start with the one that hides behind every gym bag and office drawer, the Kirkland Signature Protein Bars. On paper, they look perfect. High protein, low sugar, gluten-free, guilt-free. But in Europe, these bars would need a chemical warning label the size of the box. Why? They're packed with sucralose and acesulfame potassium, two artificial sweeteners the EU has either banned or forced to carry toxicity warnings. Sucralose can disrupt your gut bacteria and mess with insulin sensitivity. Basically, your metabolism's worst date night. And yet here, it's sold as a fit fuel. Europe calls it an unnecessary risk. America calls it Tuesday. And those impressive 16 grams of fiber? Sounds virtuous until you realize it's not coming from oats or flaxseed. It's extracted additives. The result is like hiring a marching band for your digestive system. Loud, chaotic, and impossible to ignore. Europeans prefer their fiber the old-fashioned way, from real food that doesn't double as an intestinal fireworks show. Now, leave the snack aisle and head toward the cooking section. Sitting innocently on the shelf is Kirkland Vegetable Oil Cooking Spray, a pantry hero in millions of American kitchens. But in Europe, it wouldn't even pass customs. The oil itself is fine. The problem is the propellants. Butane, propane, isobutane? Yes, the same stuff that fuels your grill and lights your campfire. Costco sells it as a heart-healthy cooking solution. Europe says, maybe don't season your stir-fry with lighter fluid. These gases are banned there because of health and inhalation risks. Even if you're not breathing them directly, tiny residues can cling to food. And here's the kicker. The zero-calorie label on those cans? A marketing illusion. The serving size is defined as a quarter-second spray. You'd need ninja reflexes and a stopwatch to stay within the limit. For everyone else, your 0 calories just became 60, plus a dash of propane. Now, let's talk about something that looks sweet and harmless. Annie's Organic Bunny Fruit Snacks. Those cute little gummy rabbits promising real fruit juice and organic goodness? In Europe, they're hopping nowhere. The cheerful colors that make kids grab them by the handful come from artificial dyes, like red 40 and yellow 5. Substances either banned or forced to carry ADHD warnings overseas. European labels literally say, may have an adverse effect on activity and attention in children. Imagine buying a snack that comes with a hyperactivity disclaimer. Only in America do we call that a treat. And the word organic? It only covers some of the ingredients. The dyes, additives, and sweeteners still slip through. It's like sprinkling kale on a donut and calling it a superfood. Even big brands like M&M's and Skittles use natural coloring in their European versions. But not here. They know how to do better. They just don't have to. Walk a few aisles down and you'll spot a bag of veggie straws beaming with health halo marketing, bright vegetables on the bag, the word veggie in bold. But open the label and the illusion collapses faster than a cheap folding chair. They're mostly potato starch, cornstarch, and oil, with a whisper of powdered veggies thrown in so the packaging can legally say, made with vegetables. In Europe, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen. EU regulators call it misleading marketing, and they're right. These things have less fiber than a slice of white bread. Think about that. The food pretending to be healthy is literally less nutritious than the one everyone calls junk. The colors? Artificial. The flavor? Engineered. The nutrition? Fiction. Europe looked at the formula and said, no thanks, we already have cardboard. Here in the States, we buy them by the box, convinced we're making a better choice than chips. But the EU demands truth in labeling, and when the picture shows vegetables, they expect actual vegetables inside. What a concept! And this is just the beginning. Because the deeper you go into Costco's aisles, the clearer it gets. What passes for healthy in America sometimes wouldn't even make it onto a shelf in Europe. Now let's move from fake vegetables to something that actually looks wholesome. Bread. Because if there's one thing Americans love, it's a loaf that screams multi-grain, organic, and heart-healthy. Enter Dave's Killer Bread, the rock star of Costco's bakery aisle. The packaging practically flexes at you. 21 whole grains, seeds, organic, non-GMO. It's got tattoos, attitude, and a fan base that swears it's the cleanest bread money can buy. So why does Europe want nothing to do with it? Because hidden behind all those wholesome buzzwords is something the EU considers a red flag: synthetic folic acid, and a lot of it. In America, we fortify our foods like we're prepping for a nutrition apocalypse. But in Europe, regulators cap synthetic folic acid because too much can be harmful. It's not that they don't value vitamins, they just prefer people get them from actual food, not a chemistry set. Each slice of Dave's Killer Bread contains about 25% of your daily folic acid intake. Eat a sandwich, and you're halfway there. Add cereal for breakfast and a fortified bar for a snack, and you've just hit 200% before dinner. At that point, you're not eating breakfast, you're running a pharmacy. Studies have hinted that excessive folic acid intake may be linked to certain cancers, but the US approach is basically, until proven guilty, keep selling it. Europe, meanwhile, plays it safer. If there's doubt, they pull the plug. Maybe that's why their bread aisles aren't full of nutrition labels that read like medical prescriptions. And if you thought that was bad, wait until we get to the bottled health section. Because nothing says wellness like a bottle of Naked Green Machine juice, the glossy green smoothie that promises a daily dose of fruits, veggies, and antioxidants. The label looks so healthy it could probably lower your blood pressure just by reading it. But in Europe, that same bottle would be rejected at the border faster than spoiled milk. Why? Because beneath that kale green glow lies synthetic vitamins, ambiguous natural flavors, and, get this, more sugar than a can of Coca-Cola. We're talking over 50 grams per bottle. That's not a smoothie, that's liquid candy in a yoga outfit. European regulators banned certain synthetic forms of vitamins E and D used in these drinks after long-term safety concerns. And while Americans are busy sipping away thinking they're getting healthier, they're really downing a fruit-flavored insulin spike. Even the term natural flavors is basically ingredient camouflage. It can hide dozens of lab-engineered compounds under one friendly-sounding phrase. It's the nutritional equivalent of someone saying, "Trust me, I'm honest," while wearing a ski mask. And that green color that makes you feel like you're drinking from the fountain of health? It's enhanced, artificially. Europe's response: nice try, but we'll stick to real fruit, not a chemistry smoothie. Now let's spread into something most Costco shoppers treat as sacred: Kirkland organic peanut butter. 2 ingredients, organic peanuts and salt. Seems bulletproof, right? Except Europe took one look at America's peanut butter and said, will pass. The problem isn't the label, it's what can grow inside it. We're talking aflatoxins, toxic compounds produced by mold that naturally forms on peanuts stored in warm, humid conditions. The US allows a certain level, arguing that trace amounts are safe. Europe's rule? Zero tolerance, because aflatoxins are linked to liver damage and cancer with long-term exposure. Not exactly what you want on your morning toast. EU testing standards are also far stricter. Every batch, every shipment, thoroughly screened. In America, it's more like test a sample, hope for the best, ship the rest. Europe said, no thanks, we'll stick with mold-free breakfast. And speaking of supplements, let's talk about something that's supposed to help you. But in Europe, it's been tossed into the danger bin. Kirkland Daily Multivitamins. They look harmless. Bright bottles, bold claims, and enough nutrients to make you feel like Iron Man. But the EU banned one key ingredient in 2022, titanium dioxide. Sounds like something from a sci-fi movie, right? That's because it practically is. Titanium dioxide is used to make pills bright white and shiny, purely for looks, not health. It adds zero nutritional value. But European regulators found it can accumulate in the body and potentially damage DNA over time. Their decision. Not worth the risk just to make a pill prettier. American companies, on the other hand, kept using it. Because who doesn't love vitamins that sparkle like Tic Tacs? But here's the real kicker. Many of these multivitamins also pack synthetic dyes and over-fortified nutrients that can push your daily intake above safe limits, especially if you're already eating fortified foods. So while you think you're optimizing your health, you might just be overdosing on lab chemistry. It's ironic. The products Americans trust most, the organic, the fortified, the natural, are the very ones Europe refuses to touch. Different continents, same brands, completely different rule books. And yet, these items keep flying off Costco shelves faster than sample day pizza rolls. But we're not done, because in the final stretch, we'll expose a few more healthy Costco staples, from protein powders to yogurts, that Europe flat out banned, and the real science behind why. And once you see how these formulas differ across borders, you'll never look at health food the same way again. Let's hit the fitness aisle, where American optimism meets powdered protein and shiny promises. You know the one, Orgain Organic Protein Powder. It's the staple of every Costco cart that screams, "New Year, New Me." It claims to be clean, organic, plant-based, and doctor-formulated, the holy trinity of health marketing. But in Europe, this powder wouldn't even make it past customs. Here's why. That organic label hides some seriously unappetizing details. One of the biggest offenders? Carrageenan, a thickener derived from seaweed that sounds natural, but acts like a red flag in your gut. Studies have linked it to inflammation and digestive distress, which is why the EU banned it from infant food altogether. They decided that gut-friendly should probably not come with a side of stomach rebellion. Then there's the heavy metal issue. Independent lab tests found lead, cadmium, and arsenic traces in some batches of protein powder. Not enough to glow in the dark, but enough to raise eyebrows. European safety standards for these contaminants are far tighter. In the US, the limits are, let's just say, a little more flexible. It's like the difference between a bouncer checking IDs and a guy at the door who just shrugs and says, "You look fine." And we can't forget the classic catch-all phrase, natural flavors? That term is the food industry's invisibility cloak. It can hide up to 100 chemically processed ingredients, all legally labeled as natural. Europe's take? If you can't identify it, you don't sell it. Here, it's still on the shelf next to the dumbbells and protein shakers. Now, let's cool down with something that seems much safer. A tub of Kirkland Greek yogurt with fruit. You've seen it. Thick, creamy, and topped with berries that look like they came straight from a postcard in Santorini. The packaging says, "Authentic Greek taste." But the European Union says, not even close. For starters, true Greek yogurt in Europe has to be made by traditional straining methods. Most American Greek yogurts skip that entirely, using thickeners and stabilizers instead to fake the texture. That's like calling instant noodles handmade pasta. Then comes the ingredient list: high fructose corn syrup, artificial colors, and preservatives that Europeans have either banned or forced to carry warning labels. Those vibrant fruit swirls? They're wearing chemical makeup. Some of the dyes, like red 40 and yellow 6, carry behavioral warnings for children in Europe, the kind that say may affect activity and attention. So while Americans spoon it up as a healthy breakfast, Europeans see it as dessert with an identity crisis. And if you thought that's just a labeling difference, think again. Even the probiotic count, the live cultures that make yogurt beneficial, often takes a hit in mass US production. By the time it hits Costco shelves, your gut bacteria are expecting a party. But what arrives is an empty dance floor with the lights already off. Let that sink in. A yogurt so processed that it can't legally call itself yogurt by European standards. And yet here, it's sold as authentic. Now, zoom out for a second. From protein bars laced with banned sweeteners to bread overdosed with synthetic vitamins, from organic snacks full of chemical dyes to juices that rival soda in sugar, the pattern is clear. Europe didn't ban these foods because they hate Costco. They banned them because they don't gamble with public health. Meanwhile, in the US, we often play the prove it's dangerous game instead of the prove it's safe one. And that's the difference between being cautious and being a test subject with a membership card. But here's the wildest part. Many of these same brands already sell cleaner versions overseas. They know how to make safer products. They just don't have to here, because we don't demand it. That's why videos like this matter. Not to shame anyone for shopping at Costco, but to remind people that healthy doesn't always mean what the label claims. Sometimes the word organic just means the chemicals got better branding. So the next time you stroll into Costco, take a second look at that shiny label that promises the world. Ask yourself, if Europe won't touch it, why should I? Because health shouldn't depend on what continent you're standing on. If this video made you question even one healthy product in your pantry, do yourself a favor, smash that like button, subscribe to Frugal Pro, and drop a comment with the most surprising banned product you learned about today. At Frugal Pro, we believe spending smart starts with knowing the truth, even when it's hiding behind a nutrition label. Stay sharp, stay skeptical, and remember, what's legal doesn't always mean what's healthy.